So now that we know Roe versus Wade is likely going to be overturned by the Supreme Court, the question arises, well, what's next? Like, what's next for the pro-life movement? They put all this time and energy and focus into this one particular thing, this specific thing. Like, they're winning on their main thing, overturning Roe versus Wade. Where do they go from here? Well, there's some chatter about that now, and it ain't pretty. So let's take a look at this. So this is in the Hill. McConnell says national abortion ban is possible. It's possible. The Arizona Mirror says GOP Senate candidate Blake Masters wants to allow states to ban contraception use. Holy cow. So this is the conversation that we're having now, guys. This is the conversation that we're having. Now, let me explain the mechanics of this again for people who might not know or haven't seen the other segments I've done on this, just so to catch everybody up. When you overturn Roe versus Wade, what that means is you're saying the states get to determine what their abortion policy is completely. The way it works with Roe versus Wade is in the first trimester of the pregnancy, it's a right. You have a right to an abortion. The second trimester of the pregnancy, states are allowed to put in some health regulations, but they can't ban it. And in the third trimester, if they so choose, they're allowed to ban it. Now, when you remove that, what is effectively a moderate framework, and leave it up to the states, what's going to happen is over 20 states, probably 24 is the number, are going to outright ban all abortions. All of them. But you'd still have blue states where you're allowed to get an abortion, and they have their own regulations. So McConnell was asked in a USA Today interview, where do you guys go from here? Is a national abortion ban on the agenda for Republicans if they take control, which they almost certainly will? And he says, look, it's possible. So they're opening the door to that. So in other words, that would be, not only is it illegal in all red states, it could be illegal in all 50 states. The federal government could tell the blue states, you're not even allowed to have legal abortion. That's now on the table. And you also have, as you saw, there's a number of these bills that are now floating around. Marsha Blackburn actually proposed a bill where only married couples are allowed to use contraception. You have various state-level Republicans saying, we should ban contraception. They want to test that out. Hey, if we ban it in a certain state and we go through the court process, will the Supreme Court say, hey, there's nothing in our founding documents, there's nothing in the Constitution about condoms or IUDs or anything like that. So, of course, the founders didn't lay out a specific right for people to use those things. So, if Mississippi or Arkansas or whoever wants to ban condoms or IUDs or the morning after pill or whatever, they have every right to do that. Look at how they think about this stuff. The right of the state supersedes the right of the individual. See, that's why the whole states' rights thing has always been a canard. They invoke states' rights to take away individual rights. That's the whole conversation popped up in its most extreme form during segregation and Jim Crow. The argument from the conservative states was, oh no, this has nothing to do with like race. This has to do with states' rights. So if we here in the South want to force black people to be second-class citizens, well, that's the right of our state to make our own laws and rules over here. The federal government should butt out. So it was just a cover for authoritarian and draconian beliefs, like keeping black people second-class citizens. And now the states' rights thing is being used to crack down on reproductive rights. Hey, leave it up to the states. Yeah, but what if the states are violating personal and individual sovereignty and human rights? Don't care. It's not, the founders never said you're allowed to get an abortion. They didn't put that in specific words, in specific language, so we're gonna leave it up to the states to ban it. Guys, by the same logic, and we've brought this up before, it's not hyperbolic to point it out. If the argument is, hey, these aren't rights that are, quote, deep-rooted in history, that's the language from the actual decision, what else isn't, quote, deep-rooted in history? Interracial marriage. That's not deep-rooted in history. That's relatively recent in the grand scheme of things. Should states have a right to ban that? Gay marriage is super recent. It's not deep-rooted in history. Should states have a right to ban that? By their interpretation of the Constitution, the answer is yes, they should. Yes, they should. What about physician-assisted suicide, which is legal in a couple states? That's certain. There's nothing in the Constitution about physician-assisted suicide. So they would say the founders never said anything about that specifically, so if states want to ban it, they have every right to ban it. Look at all of the things, personal things, human rights things, sovereignty things, liberty things, that they could just hand wave away and say the founders never said anything specific, so states are allowed to ban it if they want. And the massive irony, of course, is these are the same people who talk about small government. Like, I want to get the government out of your life. Well, certainly when it comes to social issues, they want the government as involved as humanly possible. They want to use the power and force of the state to mandate a traditional lifestyle. Traditional lifestyle. That is not small government. That's huge government. That's authoritarian government. And it's government getting involved in the worst possible ways. I would love it when the government gets involved to say, hey, here's the minimum wage. You need to pay your workers better. I like that kind of government intervention. The kind of government intervention I don't like is you can't marry that person. You're not allowed to take that substance. You're a woman. You can't decide to do that with your body, even if it's only 4 weeks in, let's say. Oh man, it's not good, dog. It is not good. So now this is where they go. See, a lot of people, I don't think people truly understood the consequences of the beliefs of the far right when it comes to social issues. Because we've been having this conversation for years now of like, isn't wokeness so bad? Isn't cancel culture so bad? Isn't the authoritarian left horrendous? And what a lot of people probably lost sight of is just how authoritarian the authoritarian right is. Now you're seeing the consequences of that. They want to control your life. They do. They want to have all these unnecessary rules and regulations and red tape about how you can live. National abortion ban possible. Contraception ban in certain states possible. They just want to roll back that clock, man. They just want to roll back that clock, make the system more primitive, take away your ability to choose in a variety of fields. Now you know. Now you know. Now, remember, this is also massively out of lockstep with the majority of Americans. It just is. 19% want to ban abortion in all cases. 19%. And that's the high number. I've seen numbers as low as 5%. And this is the position now being repped to one extent or another by Republicans, elected Republicans. So, by the way, this is also one area where it actually will hurt Republicans electorally. It will. I mean, I think the economy and inflation will sort of override it, but if the Democrats were going to lose in a historic landslide, even worse than the 2010 Tea Party wave, it's possible now that it won't be as big of a bloodbath because these are just unpopular positions that they're taking, and they're letting that freak flag fly, man. Abortion ban in all 50 states is possible. State-level contraception ban is possible. That is certainly not the kind of world I want to live in. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.